Hello, I'm Rahul and today I'm going to talk about a very important aspect of mindfulness. A lot of people find it really difficult to be mindful of their thoughts, feelings and emotions. So the basic practice of mindfulness doesn't work for them. They try it for a few weeks or a few months at the max and they notice that there is no inherent change in their state of being. They are as angry as ever. They are as compulsive as ever. So they eventually give up on mindfulness and reject it as a sham. So if you are someone who has been practicing mindfulness for a while and sees no result, then I have a very simple technique that you can practice which will help you in dealing with all kind of unpleasant emotions. But before practicing that technique, you need to understand the whole process of mindfulness. Only then you will be able to practice it. So let's begin by understanding that why does mindfulness fail for a lot of people? The essence of mindfulness is to become aware of your thoughts, feelings and emotions in a non-judgmental way. So there are two dimensions of mindfulness. First, you become aware of your thoughts, emotions and feelings. And second, you don't react to those thoughts, emotions and feelings. So most people can become aware of their thoughts and emotions, but they cannot refrain from reacting to these thoughts and emotions. Why? Because when the intensity of the emotion is too much, when there is too much of an energy in the emotion, it becomes very difficult for everyone to refrain from reacting. We just somehow become compulsive in that moment and we react. For example, if your friends make fun of you, you can watch the whole thing without reacting to it because you are pretty much familiar with the whole situation. You are pretty much used to being laughed about. So even if you are going to feel a little offended, you can tolerate it. The intensity of the emotion is going to be much less. However, if some random stranger makes fun of you, you cannot tolerate it. You get into an argument right away because the intensity of the emotion is too much. You feel attacked by the random stranger. So you cannot refrain from reacting in that moment. So most people who find it really difficult to be mindful of their thoughts, feelings and emotions are highly sensitive people who have the capacity to feel too much. That's it. It might take a little while, but eventually they will become watchful and silent. So mindfulness always works. It works because mere watching creates a distance between you and your emotions. And when you don't react to the emotions, eventually the emotions disappear. So the technique that I'm going to talk about is concerned with the second step. As we have understood that reacting becomes very compulsive when the intensity of the emotion is too much. So in this technique also we are going to react. We cannot refrain from reacting, but this reaction is going to be creative, not destructive. For example, let's say that you're having an argument with your family members or your parents and the urge to react in the moment is too strong. You just want to shout back at them. If such a situation ever arises in your life, just do a little experiment. Just get back to your room, close the door and have a beautiful dance. I know it sounds unconventional and counterintuitive, but just try it. Initially the dance is going to be angry, aggressive and violent, but by and by it will become softer and softer and softer. Suddenly you will forget everything about the anger. You have channelized the energy into dancing. It is so beautiful to experience this phenomena, and you can apply this thing in every sort of emotion that you are going through. If you are sad, then just start singing. Initially the notes will be sad, but by and by the notes will become neutral and then they can become cheerful depending on how you are carrying it forward. Once you get the knack of transforming the energy, another beautiful thing happens. You become more creative. Throughout the history, people from all walks of life have used this technique intuitively to express their emotions. There have been painters who have expressed their sadness on the canvas. So something that could have become a depression became a painting. We all know of heartbroken people who gave poetry to the world instead of going astray. There have been writers, poets, dancers who channelized their emotions into some sort of creativity, knowingly or unknowingly. So you can also do the same. Remember, energy is one and it is neutral. It's up to us whether we are going to make it creative or destructive. Always choose creativity. And lastly, I just want to say that consider this technique as something which will help you in becoming mindful. Because eventually the goal is to become watchful and silent, to drop all compulsiveness. In this technique also there is a noise, there is a compulsiveness because you are still reacting. Though you are creating something instead of being destructive, but still the compulsiveness is there. So I would suggest that in the moment when you can just refrain from reacting, if the energy or intensity of the emotion is not too much, then don't use this technique. Use this technique when the energy of the emotion is overwhelming. Then don't shy away from using it. Then create something beautiful in that moment. So I hope that you had an insight into the whole process of mindfulness, and you will use this technique whenever the urge to react is going to be too much. Whenever you cannot refrain from reacting, always use this technique of channelizing your emotions in order to create more beauty in your life.